So it was around July or August of 2023 whenever I got a text from someone in Altoona, Pennsylvania, who said, "Hey, Braxton is gross." And it's a beautiful thing about pitching that, the better you are, the more disgusting the adjective is to describe you. But it was like, all right, Braxton Ashcraft is gross. So let's see if he could be a big leaguer. Made that jump last year, and I think I might be as high on Braxton Ashcraft as I am any pitcher in this rotation besides Paul Skeens. Good morning, and welcome to OffBeat. My name is Alex Stumpf. This is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates brought to you by North Shore 9 and FanDuel. Today, we're going to look at Braxton Ashcraft. And yesterday I discounted hey, it's a spring training start for Mitch Keller. I'm not going to put too much stock into that. It was a rough one. And I'm going to kind of apply the same thing here for Braxton Ashcraft too. He had a great start. 5 1/3, 8 strikeouts. What you want to see in that penultimate start, something, to build a head of steam for the regular season, show that he can go 6 ups. It's what you really want to see. I'm not going to overreact to it. It is just a spring training start, but I still really like the approach and what he did. And like I said, this is a guy who I think I would not be shocked if Braxton Ashcraft turns out to be this team's number 2. Now, that comes with a big caveat of, does he stay healthy? And that's why I will admit he wasn't really on my radar until I got that text in 2023 saying that he was gross. Because personally, I joined DK Pittsburgh Sports in August of 2019. Something happened in 2020 globally. I'm that messed up the whole baseball season. And then Ashcraft gets Tommy John surgery in 2021. So he really wasn't on the radar for me for a while. I knew he was a second-round pick. I knew he had some level of pedigree, but I never witnessed him live. Whenever I did get to see him live, I was like, okay, there is some gross stuff here. I think last year was a great way to not only show that, yeah, I've got the pure stuff, but he's also got the approach. He's also got the mindset, the mentality. And then he goes this offseason, and it's not an offseason where he just has to rehab. He could dedicate a lot more time to learning to pitch. And he talked at Pirates Fest about how 2 of the most important things for him was to get more consistent movement profiles on 2 pitches in particular, the sinker and the changeup. And I think the sinker in particular is something that could really open up this whole arsenal for him. Braxton last year came up as a reliever. It was kind of new for him, but he wanted to be a big leaguer. This was the opportunity that was presented. He excelled at it. He really excelled as a relief pitcher. And it was enough for me to think he could just be a closer. He's got the injury history. He hasn't really been built up innings-wise. Let's see what happens. Just put him in that role. Say, hey, sorry you have to give up the starting dream. You could do a whole lot worse than being the guy in the 9th inning. I kind of thought whenever they traded David Bednar, why not just move Braxton Ashcraft into the 9th inning role? Instead, it was about then that he started starting. And they might not have always been the longest starts. There might have been some piggybacks with Burrows. There might have just been like a couple innings, is what it is type of outings. But each time, I really like the approach. I really like the slider in particular is, in my opinion, the best pitch of anyone on the staff that isn't a Paul Skeens pitch. I think that is a truly disgusting pitch, the way he's able to throw it in the zone as consistently as he does and still generate whiffs inside the zone. There's just a lot about that pitch that just grades out terrifically. If there was one big flaw, though, pitch mix-wise, it was his fastball. The four-seamer did not play that well. And hitters last year, I was a little surprised whenever I saw it. Hitters hit 323 against his four-seamer. 323. Now, there wasn't a ton of slug to go along with it, 462, but that's a batting title nowadays on a four-seamer for someone who's throwing it, 97 miles per hour. Whenever he was a reliever, though, it was really pitching off of that two-pitch mix for the most part. He was going to attack you with the four-seamer, and he was going to attack you with the slider. Then he gets a chance to start. And we see the curveball usage tick up. We see the slider usage tick up. We see the four-seam usage go down a bit. And maybe most importantly, the sinker usage went up. He did throw some sinkers whenever he was in the bullpen, but we're talking like 10% usage. This changed. In September, I know it's only a handful of starts. It was 27% sliders, 24% four-seamers, 24% curveballs, 22% sinkers. That's remarkably even pitch mix-wise. So why does the sinker matter? Well, for one, I think it'll tunnel really well off of that slider. So even if it's not a great pitch by itself, the way that slider moves and the way that it has protection, it's always going to keep hitters honest. If he's able to throw that as a pitch to just get by hitters, if he could sneak sinkers in for strikes, especially with to get even in the count or finish off hitters with 2 outs or 2 strikes, that is a separator. And if he has that consistent movement profile, something that he really didn't have last year, like we saw flashes, but it was, admittedly, I think he would admit to this, not the most consistent pitch in his arsenal. If he's able to get something that where he's able to make that execution more uniform, that he can rely on it more, I think he becomes a pretty disgusting sinker slider guy. Now, he's always going to have the curveball. The four-seamer is also in the mix. The changeup was an off-season project for him too. So I'm not oversimplifying and making it a two-pitch mix. But, man, if you could, whenever you have an elite breaking ball, pitch off of it. And that's what he's doing here. We're going to take a break for a second, throw it over to Cody, and then we're going to talk about that spring training start.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
So, Ashcraft's pitch usage in his last spring training start: 30% sliders, 26% curveball, 17% four-seamer, 27% sinker. A pitch that he used more and more every time through the lineup. I know it's a short time, third time through, but he used it more. That is what's pitching off of the slider looks like, in my opinion. that whenever he's able to establish that slider and get, called strikes, get whiffs with it, then he could go to the heat. Then he can get those quicker outs. Like I know on Wednesday, it was mostly the curveball that did the damage for strike three. 6 strikeouts with the curveball. I don't want to undersell that pitch. That's a really good pitch mix of this also. And Lord knows I've talked about pitchers going north to south a lot already the last couple of days. This is a young show still, and I've used the phrase north to south, I think, more than anyone in the podcast game right now. Humble brag. But yeah, he has that mentality of let's use this pitch. Let's see how we can attack hitters with it. I think it opens up a whole new way to use his fastballs. He's got the velocity. Movement was sketchy, but you know what? If you're able to pitch off of great breaking stuff, that's fine. He's able to generate spin with the breaking balls, kill the spin, just get that drop with the sinker. Okay, so he's got the stuff. And I really like the mentality. And let's just address the final elephant in the room. Can he go 150, 160 innings this year? He hasn't done it as a pro. The only reason I have confidence that this is within the realm of possibility that he could go a normal starter workload and make 20-something, 30 starts is last year. They had so many off ramps planned for him of all right, we're going to wind down. We're going to wrap the season. But every single time, his body was responding well to the workload. It was okay, we could stretch him a little further. We're going to keep 2 eyes on him. We're really going to make sure that he's okay. Can't have him get hurt. We'll pull the plug if there's any sign of, distress or anything. But he didn't show any. And they play consistent. They play conservatively at times, and that's fine. Young pitching, it's one of those things of you'll never know if you did too much. You'll only know if you didn't do enough. But every time, he just responded fine. And he pitched through the whole year. And that's huge. It's not just an innings thing. It's the get up and pitch 6 months of the year, 7 months of the year. That is something that you don't really get to do whenever you're young, whenever you're in the minor leagues, whenever you're, just coming up. Braxton showed that he could pitch all 6 months in a season. And I know the first 4 of those were pretty much as a minor league starter or as a major league reliever, but he still did it. I know those first 4 months, there are ways to control the innings, control the workload, control pitch count and everything like that. If you have to have that, that's fine. He is worth it. If he has to be on a pitch count, if he has to be on an inning count, if he has to have those times where it's 5 and dive, that's fine because I think the upside is that tremendous. I don't mean this as a slight to Mitch Keller, who's been an all-star in the past, or Bubba Chandler, who I think is a Rookie of the Year contender, or Hunter Barco, who, there's a lot of great stuff there, or, any of these other young pitchers, that are in the organization. But, Braxton is the guy for me. I think if he stays healthy, he's got a real chance to be the number 2 in this rotation. And if that happens, this rotation's in a really good spot then. Thank you so much for listening to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find fine podcasts or here on YouTube. We'll be here every day. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.